it down! Burn it down!
That is a soundbite recorded by Lonzo of me talking about the New Orleans Saints. We stink. We stink. We're going to stink.
Chill!
We're going to stink. I don't know what to tell you. Bet the underwin total. All right? I'm not kidding. Don't be shocked if Carolina wins this week. It sucks.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
I feel the way that I'm sure Rashad Beards felt like the last 3 years watching the Panthers. Now it's all the jokes I've had, all right? All the bleep talk I've done to Rashad's face at BOA. It's all coming back to bite me in the ass this year. Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, joins us ordinarily on Thursdays at this time, but my man was out in the field doing secret agent stuff yesterday, so he makes the move to today. What's up, big fella?
What's going on, guys? Man, football is back. What a great game last night. I'm excited. Let's talk.
You'll notice, Rashad, that over the past, 3 seasons we've been doing this, ordinarily, Saints-Panthers weekend, your boy rolls up here in the all black with the fleur-de-lis on the chest and on the hat bill and all that.
Nope.
Bro, I couldn't bring myself to do it today. Nope. We are going to stink.
Wow. I mean, I'm surprised. And you know what? It's because I did a preview with another Saints fan, Saints podcaster. The energy was the same, right? You guys are a little... It's not the same, hey, we're gonna kill you guys type thing. You guys are really kind of standoffish, a little cautious about talking stuff. And
look,
so
how can you not rock your colors?
Because we suck and it's our fault. You know, there's a difference between you did your best and you failed. Man, like everybody's heard it, right? It's okay to fail if you genuinely can walk away from the effort going, I did my best. We didn't. We kept Dennis Allen, for God's sakes. What are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, you got some issues. I mean, some of the cap stuff, the cap manipulation stuff, you get credit for when it's going well and you're able to put together a team, but then that oftentimes comes to get you back as well. So again, I'm not one to say, hey, we're just gonna win this game. I still got things I need to see before I'm, all in, of course. But I feel good about where the Panthers are, and even if we don't win, I think it's going to be a really, really close game. But we can talk about it. Let's break it down.
Let's talk a little bit about it. Let's start with this. BY named the only offensive captain for the year this year. I saw an interview yesterday where he got asked, hey, are you tired of hearing about last year? And, I'll tell you this, BY, phenomenal when it comes to the interviews, right? Like, he's always level-headed. He's always clear. He said, look, at the end of the day, it's part of it, right? Like, that's part of whatever happens. That's part of it for me. He's got his weapons, or at least better weapons than we had last year going into this. He's got his quarterback or his coach, who is the QB whisperer, legit, straight up. What do you need to see out of BY this weekend to feel good about keeping him there?
Yeah, I think Bryce just needs to be himself, and Canales, that's the big talk of the offseason, is to build this offense to where Bryce can cook. Like, we've seen Bryce do well in creating, right, off platform, out of the offense, out of the structure of the offense. That's Bryce. If you go back to look at his Alabama film, that's what he did. And so I think you're going to get back to that. Bryce is going to be more comfortable in the offense. I think it's going to be put on his shoulder a little bit, because I think we'll have a hard time running the football against the Saints. We could talk about how bad the Saints are, but defensively, they're going to be good. And so I think it's going to be a good challenge to see how our offense stacks up. You know what I mean? So I think Bryce is going to be fine. Like you said, the weapons are there. The protection is there. And Bryce, he doesn't have to do too much. That's the thing. I don't want to see Bryce try to overcompensate and do too much. Just be yourself, play within the confines of the offense, and let's see what happens.
Talk to me about the run game a little bit. We saw Miles Sanders got banged up, finger injury in the second to last practice before this game. But we also know Chuba Hubbard RB1, or at least expected to be coming into this. Do we have an update on Miles Sanders' injury? Is he going to be available? And what is the balance and cohesion between the run game and the pass game in week one?
Yeah, I think the Panthers want to run the football. Like I said, I think it's going to be tough against that Saints defense. But I think as far as Miles, I don't know what his status is, injury status is. I have no idea. I know Chuba's RB1, so even if he was healthy, it would be a combination of the two backs. But if he's not going to play, I do believe in Raheem Blackshear. We have Dylan Johnson also that was just recently signed to the practice squad, who's done pretty well here. So if Miles Sanders can't go, I fully expect that rotation to still happen with either Dylan Johnson getting promoted or Raheem Blackshear getting some reps at running back. So I think we're definitely going to be running the football. We're going to try to run the football. If we can run the football successfully, the Saints are really in trouble. But if not, I think Bryce is going to take a little bit on the shoulders and try to win throwing the football. So we'll see. We'll see.
If there is a strength to the Saints, it is likely the defensive line. It's getting aged. Chase Young, Cam Jordan, older guys, but they still got some dog in them a little bit. To me, a huge chunk of this game is going to be on the outside tackles, keeping Bryce Young's pocket clean, keeping him upright, keeping him clean. Can they?
I hope so. I don't know if they can. I have not seen the entire unit play together, right? Damian Lewis, even during the preseason where we played our starters, did not play against the Bills. So we haven't seen it. And it's really tough for me to say what I want to see, because I know what I want. I don't know if I'm going to get that. And I don't know if they're going to be able to protect Bryce to his fullest extent. But we have invested a lot of money into that offensive line, and the hope is that it pays off and we get Bryce Young protected. A couple of pressures here and there are okay, but we don't want Bryce Young getting killed like he was last year. We need to protect him, keep him upright, allow him to process through that through his progressions, and get the football to where it needs to go. So I hope that happens, and we'll see if it does.
All right, I want to craft a thought/question off one of the comments in the chat. Double O'Kane said, with competent coaching, which we have now, I believe Bryce has the type of year CJ had last year. Shrug emoji, #book it. Rashad, I'm going to say a thing, then I want your thoughts on it. I need Carolina Panther fans to be cautious, man, because I don't think they understand the situation in Houston last year, dramatically different than the situation in Carolina last year. I'm not saying you can't expect, maybe demand a better season, but asking to put him into the category of the season that CJ Stroud had last year is a recipe for disappointment. Super pleasantly surprised if he does, but I think if you're banking on that to happen, it might be a longer season than it needs to be for you.
Oh, yeah. I'm not one. I don't subscribe to that Bryce having a CJ year, but I think he'll be way better than he was last year. But CJ had an amazing year, and I don't want to have to compare these two guys for the rest of their careers, even though it is going to happen because they were in the same draft class. And I understand that. But Bryce is his own guy, and I do think you're seeing a level of confidence in Bryce Young that you have not seen last year. He was not like this. Even if you watch the game, I know it's against second and third team defense or whatever against the Bills, but he just seems to have a different level of command, and he trusts the guys. I think that's the biggest thing. He trusts his receivers. He trusts Adam Thielen. He trusts Deontay Johnson. And has weapons, and so I think Bryce is going to be better. But to say he's going to have a CJ Stroud type year is a bit much for me.
I would agree. Let's talk about the other side of the ball defensively. Obviously, going up against future first ballot Hall of Famer Derek Carr and his New Orleans Saints. Listen, as a Saints guy, and I'm curious as to see kind of where I cross over with your interview the other day, which you guys can find on the Panther podcast, Panther Nation podcast YouTube channel. It's phenomenal. I watched about 30 minutes of it. Really enjoyed it. Look, dude, I think Alvin Kamara hit the expiration date. I hate it because that guy, it came quick, bro. Like spoiled milk. He was just there and then he suddenly wasn't. And for whatever reason, I think Dennis Miller, I assume Kendre Miller must have slept with DA's mom or something, because as much hype as there was around that guy, he can't get on the field. You lose Mike Thomas. You still got Olave, and Olave's a dude. All right, take the over on the passing yards. That's a guy. Man, the team just doesn't have the weapons that it's had in years gone by. Is this a pin the ears back and attack kind of game for Evo's defense?
I don't know, Rob. Listen, man, we have a question mark out opposite of Jadeveon Clowney. We don't know who the other we know, but we don't know if DJ Johnson can get it done, right? DJ Johnson's a guy we drafted last year. The expectations were high since we spent a third-round pick on him, and it has not translated yet. But he does have a clear opportunity against a broken and battered Saints offensive line to get it done. And so we need him to step up opposite of Jadeveon Clowney to pin his ears back and get the job done, put some pressure on Derek Carr. I'm not saying, I don't think that, the Saints offense has expired by any means. I think, they got a new offensive coordinator. The offense is going to look a little different. Shaheed, I like a lot. Olave is very solid. I'm not sleeping on this offense, but I will say, this is a great opportunity for us to get some momentum going with our defense. I know that I trust Ejiro Evero. I trust his scheming. He's a bend but don't break type of guy. We're gonna give up some yards, but hopefully we don't give up too many points, and hopefully that it ultimately wins us the game. And if we can force a couple of turnovers and win that turnover battle, I really think the Saints are going to be in trouble.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one a bunch on Monday. Fill in the blank here. We got about a minute left with Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast. Fill in the blank. The Carolina Panthers open the season 1-0 with a victory on the road over the New Orleans Saints if blank.
Bryce is protected. If Bryce is protected and we're not giving up 15+ pressures and 5+, 3+ sacks, I think we can get it done. This offense is Canales knows how to go against this defense. Like he schemed. It's not like he's new to the division. He knows the Saints defense. He's prepped against. He's done well. Had some success against it last year with the Bucs. So he knows what he's doing. And so all we need is Bryce to get protected. If we can protect Bryce, we can win this game.
You got, let's see, Scott in the chat saying Panthers beating the Saints 100%. Rashad, all I'm going to say is you better bring that same energy with your chest next week, Scott. If they don't, baby.
Yeah, for me, I'm not on that train. I think the Saints can still win this game, but I think it'll be a close one. I do think the Panthers edge it out, but I think it'll be a close one.
Look, I'll tell you this. I just went up and looked up the odds. Saints -4, you get 3 for being at the house. That means Vegas thinks the Saints are a point better than Carolina, and I'll tell you, if I'm Carolina, I feel good about that because look, I think this team's stepping backwards, but I want to point out that's from a team that, like last year, I expected 10-7 from last year. I think you're looking at a 7-win season for New Orleans this year. If Carolina is a point less than a team that won 7 or is expected to win 7, that's a step up for you guys. And for me, this season's about trajectory, Rashad Beard, not the number at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think we'll surprise a couple people during the season. Again, this is not the same Carolina Panthers as last year. It's different energy around here, and I think we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it done.
Rashad Beard next Thursday. Somebody's gonna be up in here talking a whole bunch of smack, big fella. I hope it's me, but we'll find out.
I hope it's me, man. Keep pounding, Panthers. Let's get it done. Let's get it done.
My guy, Rashad Beard. Follow them on X at Panther Nation PC. More importantly, go to the YouTube channel, Panther Nation Podcast. Make sure you are liked up. Turn on that bell so you don't miss everything. Y'all doing live? Y'all gonna be live on Sunday, post, pre, whatever?
We're gonna do a live reaction during the game. We'll be on a little bit after, but yeah, man, tune in to Panther Nation Podcast. We're gonna be live streaming during the game.
All right, I'm gonna come by and check it out if we're winning. And no other reason.
Yeah, don't come if you're losing because I'm gonna be talking all kind of junk.
That's fair. Me too. Rashad Beard, Panther Nation Podcast. See you next Thursday, big dog. Have a good weekend. Enjoy week 1.
All right, guys. Thank you.
See you. Rashad Beard for the Panther Nation Podcast. Lonzo from the Rob Brown Show.
Wow. Great transition. The Atlanta Braves failed to sweep the Rockies, dropping the third game of the series last night, 3-1. Ronaldo Lopez was tagged with his 5th loss on the season, despite giving up just 2 runs while striking out 11 through 6 innings. Atlanta falls to 8 games behind Philadelphia in the division and are now tied for the Mets for the final wild card spot. Difference between a win and a loss was the length of a toe for the Baltimore Ravens, who were knocked off in the first NFL game of the 2024 season. Rob wrote that. They weren't knocked off. They weren't expected to win by the Kansas City Chiefs, 27-20. Lamar Jackson threw for 273 yards and a touchdown and ran for 122 yards and still lost, but missed 2 open wide receivers in the end zone, which is why they lost on the game's final drive. Tune in tomorrow at 4:30 as the Furman Paladins take on the Charleston Southern Buccaneers. It's Furman versus Charleston Southern, also known as Southern, right here on the home of the Paladins football, the Fan Upstate. Yeah, it's a classic shirt, Steven. I also have one of those. Actually, I think I have 2 of them. And a hat.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-580-7766. 800-580-7766. That's 800-580-7766.
Did you know you can use your own body's healing properties to revitalize your achy joints and get you real lasting pain relief? Hey, it's Charlie James. I'm talking about advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. If you're tired of arthritic pain in your knees, your hips, your back, or your shoulders, this is something you need to check out. Everybody's talking about regenerative medicine, and the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are experts in these amazing treatments.
I think it's hard not to. You really got to make yourself not be excited when it's week one, right before your first game. I mean, afterwards you can go back to reality, but for now, I mean, get a little hype. Rob doesn't know this, but Kansas City actually won last night.
What do you mean Rob doesn't know this? I stayed up and watched the whole game.
I watched the whole game too.
I didn't bail on my team to go to sleep.
Watched the entire game. No, here's the thing. I am sensible, and I understand that technology is our friend.
Bailed on a team to go to sleep.
Technology is our friend.
Get
look.
out of
Look at
here.
that. Look at that. Yeah.
Get out of here. Jarrell showed up. Wow.
What's going on?
I must have done something real right in a past life.
Maybe he's just here for me.
That might be it.
Yeah.
Always Lonzo.
See, there you go.
What's up, you handsome devil?
I'm doing well. How are y'all this morning?
Living the dream, buddy. It's NFL's on the docket. College football's on the docket. High school football's on the docket. It is the most wonderful time of the year. I don't care what nobody says.
We had such a drought over the summer. It's so beautiful to have this.
I know.
Isaiah Likely.
He just had smaller feet, but he didn't. So Kansas City
I got to
won.
tell you straight up, I'm super mad because yesterday afternoon Jarrell, I'm playing fantasy football for the first time in 9 seasons. All right. I don't do it anymore. But I had a bunch of dudes with the hockey team that needed one more guy. So I'm like, screw it. I'll jump in. Why not? It's been a hot minute. Let's do this. So I jumped in. Yesterday, I'm like, hey, let me go scan the waiver wire. You know, people making those last-minute moves, see if anybody got dropped that I might like. And I went and looked, and there was a dude that dropped Isaiah Likely, and I didn't pick him because I'm like, oh, Mark Andrews on that team. He's the guy. I could have had Isaiah Likely on my squad, and I missed it, and somebody grabbed him from me. I am hurting today, bro.
Easy 25, 30 points there, depending on your league.
Hurting today.
Yeah.
Could have been more if he had smaller feet.
Bro. Woof.
Or as Patrick Mahomes suggested, white shoes.
Chiefs, luckiest team in America right now.
Telling you.
What's up, John?
What's going on?
Yeah. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we begin the final hour of the show, the final hour of the day, the final hour of the week. We head into our first full fall football festival weekend. And it starts last night. NFL football, Kansas City Chiefs 27-20 winners over the Baltimore Ravens, who decided, how can we make this loss as gut-wrenching as possible? And the answer is, have a game-tying, perhaps winning touchdown called back by the length of a well-pedicured toenail. That's how you make it as devastating as possible. That one stung just a little bit. We'll come back to that later on in the show. Because Rob Brown missed the cover because of that. He missed the spread by a point. He had not 1, not 2, but 3 parlays die because the Ravens forgot Derrick Henry existed for 3 quarters, and I'll never understand that. John Harbaugh What is wrong with you, man? What are we doing here? What are we doing here, John? What are we? That is 2 games against the Chiefs in a row that you just forgot you have a running back who's good. Unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
We'll put the NFL to bed. We got some college football. Already broke down the South Carolina game on the road against Kentucky, the Clemson game at home against Appalachian State. Couple of games that I think are prove-it games for those 2 teams. We'll get back to that coming up in a little while. But you all, of course, know that Friday night round these parts starts on Friday, when the boys of fall get a little high school football going on a Friday night. And wouldn't you know it, joining us here on the show, the fellas from the Movin' the Chains podcast, which you can find online at movinchains.com. You can find them on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram at Movin' Chains. No G on that, just Movin' Chains. And their podcast available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you find major podcasts. Today, a special treat, because not only is John Epps the only one of the 3 that showed up for all 3 weeks so far, by the way. Bonus points to John, because not only did he, but he was rocking the hat again, which for a minute there we were a little concerned. But today, the extra special treat, because Jarrell Hendricks has gotten himself up out of bed, ignored his other responsibilities as both a husband and a worker to be here on the show. Fellas, how the hell we doing, boys?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Jarrell Hendricks out of bed. This is early in the morning for you, I believe.
Dude, I do not get up early. I am not a morning person. I don't know how you do this radio show every day. I mean, I couldn't imagine doing it, sir. But no, I appreciate the intro. Happy to be here. Energy drinks always. But yeah, I'm excited to be here. Talk a little high school football. Love Friday.
Love Friday nights. Fellas, we got games taking place around the upstate of South Carolina. So let's jump into then. Johnny boy, let's start with you. We got a rivalry game on the docket tonight when Powdersville travels down to Wren. I got my first experience at Wren last year when I was calling a game at Wren. I'll tell you this. The away side of the stadium, it's an older stadium. The home side of the stadium, that place freaking rocks. Those fans are insane down there at Wren. I had a ball sitting across the field watching that home team. It's a good little home field good little home field advantage for Wren. They got Powdersville coming to the house. The Powdersville 0-2 looking for win number 1. Wren looking to stay undefeated in this one.
Yeah, it's a fun Anderson County matchup. Powdersville, a relatively new school who broke away from the kind of Wren district. If Powdersville didn't exist, those kids would be at Wren most likely. So a good rivalry game, and that's what makes this interesting. It's a 4A matchup, Wren 4A, Powdersville 3A. But these guys play some tight football. Last year, Wren won this game 42-39 in a shootout. I think we're going to see a similar game here. Wren, they're led by their running back, Reese Price. He's already racked up 4 touchdowns in their first 2 games. I think Wren is probably the better team in this game, but they haven't been tested yet. They rolled over a Palmetto team in week 0 and then blew out not a great Easley squad last week. This will certainly be their toughest test. Should be a really good rivalry ball game. Should be a close ball game, but I think Wren ekes it out.
Just because I'm curious about that. With Wren, which is not a huge school and not a team that can field an enormous team, when they have a team like Powdersville pop up and it can eat into the roster size, which already they're not going to field a huge team, how have they handled that?
You know, I think with 4A compared to 3A, it's not that big of a jump. Obviously, these schools didn't drastically change in enrollment last year. High school rules redid classification. That could be a whole show how that went. But there's not a huge difference in the depth perspective, I don't think, between these 2 clubs. It's enough to where if you want to grind it out and you want to beat them in the end of the game in the fourth quarter, it may have a little bit of difference in the trenches. But Powdersville is a big team. They're a well-coached team as well. They're going to be in this thing with the people that they've got. They've got the talent. They've got the depth to compete. I think when you get to 1A and 2A, it's a big difference. 5A to 3A is a big difference. But 4 to 3, not too big of a deal.
Jarrell, Daniel, JL, man. Daniel ranked number 2 in the state in the 4A poll. JL, man, 8th in the state in the 5A poll. So you got a team towards the top of the 4A taking on a team right around in the middle of the 5A. Looks to me, this one might have a little spice to it, a little kick to it, Jarrell Hendricks.
Man, this one's got some juice for real. JL, man, took one on the chin last week. They lost in overtime. At home, they had a big-time game against the Gaffney Indians. Could not get that one done, unfortunately, losing 42-40. Do they, use that as kind of a springboard, use some momentum from that game and say, hey, we can play with the best of the best in 5A and keep going as Coach Watson has continued to build that Patriots program? Or do they kind of have a letdown game? But it's a game where you're playing Daniel, and it doesn't matter what classification Daniel plays against. They are one of the better teams and one of the best programs in the state. I got a stat for you guys here. We got this from our show on Tuesday. Daniel has won 46 straight regular season games, and they have not lost a regular season road game since 2017. The Lions are not afraid to go to Slayton Field and win this game. It should be a tight one. I've got to side with Daniel in this game. Coach Brewster is one of the better coaches in the state. Obviously, he's won state championships. They won 3 out of the last 4 state championships.